Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Couple days away from the spring game, buddy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because spring football will be over.
Do spring games mean anything more considering the way the portal works? Like there was a time where you'd get, your starting quarterback and maybe a couple of your starters for a little bit, but really not much, and then you let all the newbies come in. Well, now half the team is newbies, so it's going to be your first crack. And sometimes when it's freshmen, you don't expect them to play, right? There's going to be some transfers that are fighting for starting jobs. The entire offensive line is still a TBD. Like, is there a little bit more intrigue this year because of that?
Yeah, maybe. I've been on record many times thinking that the spring game over the course of my career, of which too many players look like they're going to be the stars, and then they don't even play the next year. And I've seen coaches before say, "Oh, so and so's not playing, but we know what he can do," right?
Yep.
But I guess because of the portal, and you have so many guys that you're trying to find out about just exactly what you have. I would think you have a pretty good idea what you have, or you wouldn't have brought them in the first place, right?
Right.
But I'll say this to what your point is. I could understand the argument more now that, there's value to it than I used to. But again, I go back to, I can't even remember the guy's name. There was a guy just 2 years ago, and he's running up and down the field as a running back. Who's this guy?
Cyrus Allen?
No, it was a running back who was like, I think he's just a walk-on.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah. Nick, if you can, please put the transfer additions graphic up because, I'm just going to go through some of these names. Some of these guys we've seen play, but we haven't seen play, obviously, in an A&M uniform. We've seen them at practice a tad bit. But, Houston Thomas, I'm excited to see what he does, okay? Ray, if and how much he plays. Ray Coney, Tafik Byer. These are all, guys that I think could have a pretty big role this year. Cohen Eccles, Richie Anderson, who you've mentioned a couple different times. There's so many names on this list that, Wilkin Formby, who I met the other day, couldn't have been better. Anto Saka. It's going to be our first crack. It won't tell us that much, but at least I can start forming some ideas about these guys in this system. Remember that one year? You remember that one year? It might have been 22 spring game. Okay.
Oh God.
And it was like a freaking windstorm, and they just couldn't throw the ball.
Right.
And we chalked it up. It's just the wind. No, they couldn't throw that year because they went 5-7.
Yeah. Well, there was all kinds of problems beyond.
Yeah.
You know what? Have you ever heard the phrase or the term "trickle truth"?
Tell me more. I know what trickle means, and I know what truth means.
It's like if someone's getting caught in a lie, and they're trying, and they say, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, this happened,"
but this,
and then you keep pushing, and more comes out. They deny, and then evidence. Okay, kind of like that senator recently. But anyway, the point is, I guess the spring game is like the first utterance of trickle truth.
The first lie.
You're starting to find out a little bit of information.
Yeah.
A little bit here, a little bit there. But I'm not going to know the truth until September.
Yeah, we're not going to know the truth until maybe the LSU game. Maybe the Arizona State game. LSU game.
Yeah.
The truth.
Hey, the truth.
And that truth can evolve. Maybe call it a trickle truth. but as more evidence, but things can get better.
Yeah.
And things can get worse.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I'll be honest. Again, look, if you're asking Mike Elko, he's going to tell you there's great value in a spring game or in spring football. In the spring game, I think he looks at it as kind of like a reward because for the fans and the team and all the. I personally am going to hold my breath every play that nobody gets hurt because, in my opinion, and what do I know, right?
Not much.
That's a guy making $11 million over there. I'm lucky. I get excited if I get $11. So,
man, if I find $11, that would make my week.
I know.
Did you see this?
Hey, so
if I see $1, I'm like, I'm taking it. It's mine.
When I walk out of HEB, I'm scanning the parking lot for a quarter.
I've seen him use that little machine and just looking for it.
I'm going to be handed out. We'll work for food. Anyway, the point is.
I saw you on 6.
I was there. The point is, I get it. Mike Elko's opinion is the only one that matters.
Yeah. But
I just don't want to see anybody that get hurt. Because to me, that if a significant player got hurt, that would have more damage than anything positive that ever happened all of the spring.
So last week, Justin at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center brought to us Bill Connolly's, what is it called, the SP rankings?
SP Plus, yes.
SP Plus. But then I think On 3 kind of put it together based on conference, okay? And where do you think A&M ranks in SP? By the way, SP, I'm going to kind of give you...
Yeah, you got to tell me what that is.
Okay. They look at returning production.
Okay.
Recent history.
Okay.
Recent recruiting.
Okay.
And coach change effects. Okay?
Okay. I think A&M looks pretty good in all those.
Okay. So if you were to guess, where does A&M rank out of the 16 teams in the SEC? What number would you give them? Guessing.
Guessing. It's a complete guess. Can I say or?
Sure.
Or 3 or 4?
They were 3. And I actually was surprised by 3. I figured other schools would get a bump, but they did not. I'll tell you the order. Do you know number 1?
Number 1's probably Texas.
Georgia.
Okay, Georgia. Number 2 is going to be Texas.
Texas. 3, A&M. 4, LSU. And 5, Alabama.
Well, first of all, I just said all those things about Elko. His opinion is the only one that matters.
Yeah.
There's a good reason for that. Look what he's done. And when he brings in a guy from the transfer portal,
they're usually pretty good.
I'm not saying that he's going to be, he'll bring in a guy. I don't know that this guy's going to be an all-conference player. I'm not going to think that. But I've got a pretty good idea he's going to fit a need, and like Deion Hayes.
Right.
No one ever thought this was going to be a great player, but he came in, he fit a need, and he was effective in the role that they designated for him. And I think that's what Elko does great. Look, there's certain guys, Isaiah Horton, that you bring in, you expect, this
expect
guy's
greatness, yeah.
But there are other guys, you just, there's a role that needs to be filled, and I think that's what Elko and his staff does very well.
Well, now we're going to play another game.
Okay.
CBS Sports, worst case, best case scenarios for teams in the SEC or in college football.
Okay.
Okay. And I want you to tell me what you think, best case for A&M based on this schedule, what you think the worst case is. Realistic best case. I know best case is 12-0, worst case is 0-12. I recognize that. But the realistic
12-0. Okay, so in the regular season, I'd say the realistic best case is 10-2.
Okay.
I think realistic worst case is 7-5.
Buddy, did you read the article? Because that's what they said. I'm going to read you a little bit of what they said. Here it is. Best case, 10-2, 7-2 in the SEC. Unlike last season's March to 11 straight wins prior to the loss at Texas, Mike Elko's team will not benefit from a soft slate in the SEC. Pause.
I get so tired of that. Once again, this time last year, everybody was talking about how great or how difficult A&M's schedule is going to be.
Yeah. There's LSU. Okay. There's Alabama and Oklahoma on the road, and the Aggies haven't yet figured out the Longhorns under the current regime. Marcel Reed needs to take a step forward
He does.
in his development at quarterback for A&M to get the finish that it wants this fall. But even with that, 10-2, 7-2 in the SEC.
But wait, let me say this about LSU last year. They were a team that dang near beat Alabama. I think they lost to Ole Miss it was a touchdown game. They were extremely competitive in all their games, and they didn't mail it in until after they
A&M.
lost. They were a different team after A&M stole their soul and their stadium.
No doubt about that.
But up until then, now no one wants to acknowledge that. But again, watch their games and look and say, I think they would have probably, in my mind, beaten Alabama had they been able to, or maybe they just made the move.
Right.
Anyway, if they started Nussmeier. Because they were always in scoring positions, seems like that game. So anyway, my bad.
All right. And then worst case scenario, 7-5, 4-5 in the SEC. The Aggies would not be able to keep boosters quiet if a team with this much talent loses 5 games this season. But there are potentially 7 matchups against ranked opponents if Arizona State, Missouri, and Tennessee are all credible at the time of kickoff.
Okay. So if they're credible at the time of kickoff, I'm still, a lot of those teams I just talked about from last year, they were credible at the
time of kickoff. Exactly right. So now, I don't see
reporters, sports writers.
To me,
most hypocritical people outside of politicians.
While I can see 7-5 being the worst case, okay, how about this? Let's take it a step. What's the most realistic expectation?
If you told me I had to pick 10-2 or 7-5 as the most realistic, not in between, one or the other, I'd say 10-2 to me is the most realistic.
Okay, and if I said the most realistic in between?
Now we all put the caveat. We're talking about a healthy team that doesn't have like Marcel doesn't get hurt or something, but because that's what everybody says.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Arch got hurt, is Texas's projection going to change? Of course it will. But yeah, all right. So what was the second part?
In the middle, what do you think is 9-3 more likely or 8-4 more likely?
I would say 9-3. Now, a reason you could say 8-4 and be right is what the factors I just talked about.
Yep.
It's hard to win a football game in the SEC. And if you have any kind of significant injuries, that's more likely to happen.
While I recognize that Marcel might be the biggest storyline, okay, and for most people it is, to me, the biggest storyline, without a doubt, for me, is the offensive line.
Of course.
Because the offensive line, Marcel is all quarterbacks, not just Marcel, all quarterbacks are much better when you can run the ball. All quarterbacks are much better when you can protect. When you think?
Nussmeier guy I brought up, for instance.
Yeah, exactly right. So if the offensive line comes together, and my hesitation is how long will it take to come together, right? It took a while for Texas last year.
It did. And it never happened for LSU.
So, are you in the middle of that? When it came together for Texas, it came together pretty good, and Arch's numbers started getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that I know that's what you're saying is it's pretty elementary there, right?
Yeah.
I'm of the mind that certain people might be offended by this. I thought A&M's left side of the offensive line was excellent. I thought the right side of the offensive line
was good.
It's okay. It's above average. So I think that A&M's rebuilding its offensive line, and somebody says, "Oh, you're being provincial." Of course, you're saying that. I think they're more likely to be successful rebuilding their offensive line than LSU was at this time last year, because I just thought both teams are going to have maybe have 4 offensive linemen drafted.
Yep.
A&M probably, but I just thought that LSU's offensive line, they had the guy was the 4th player taken in the draft, and some other guy. I just thought that they had less, that maybe they lost more.
Yeah,
maybe they just lost more and had less to fill with. Another thing is along those lines, LSU's, I can't remember what his name was. Their former offensive line coach was reviled over there.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think anyone's going to question Adam Cushing's
No.
acumen as an offensive. Look at me using three-syllable words today.
Acumen. Did you used to do this? Acumen. Clap when you do it.
No, but I think I had like teachers that would. Good job, Olin, for actually using a three-syllable word.
This is TexAgs Live. How many syllables is that?
3.
We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
David Gardner's Jewelers.
David Gardner's Jewelers.
Okay.
6?
You could have been a cheerleader,
I
man.
could
Or a yell leader.
I'm more of a yell leader type.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the cheerleaders. And we are in the Rollo
Insurance Studio.
So stupid.
I know. You never know where we're going to go.
The Go Hour is presented by the Warehouse.
At CC Creations.
Is that 3? Creations is 3.
Creations?
Yeah, look at that. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it a couple different ways. One of the ways is the Bubbies.
Catering and bartending.
I think it's run its course.
Yeah, okay.
It's over. 979-693-1150, or you can text us on the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line. That number.
You just heard it. 979-693-1150.
We didn't tell the people. We're sitting comfortably in the holistic planning cool zone.
Holistic planning, very comfortable.
It is.
Yeah, just like if you're concerned or have any angst or just wanting to do more with your finances and your investments, you can feel comfortable that holistic planning would take care of you.
Do you think Josh and Brandon and Billy and Hunter would consider buying us like those fancy recliners that you get at the real fancy movie theaters where you have your cup holders? You can kind of I think that would be a good look.
That would be a great look. It's not going to happen. I mean, again, I'm walking around on the HEB parking lot looking for pennies. So
that's why I asked for their money, not yours.
But if I had more money, where would it come from?
That's a good point. Maybe we shouldn't spend the money on recliners. We go around the room left to right. We say hi to the people. Behind the glass is the Nick Savage. Hello, Nick.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
Are we back on Brian Broadcasting?
We are, yeah. We're back on the zone. OB, and Kate, maybe I missed it, but I'm surprised you didn't say best case is 12-0, worst case is 0-12.
Well, that was discussed beforehand, saying absolutely, that's always the best case scenario.
Yeah.
So then he said, what would you think is realistic?
Right.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with y'all on that. 10-2.
It's going to be difficult for anybody to go undefeated in the SEC.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I agree.
10-2, I think is best case scenario. I mean, there's some tough. What would you say was the worst case? OB, like
7-5.
7-5.
See, I even see that's a tough schedule. Even like a 6-6.
Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay,
You're
Ray
talking
Charles.
worst case.
Okay,
The worst case would be 0-12.
Oh, I know, but realistically, a worst case, it could be 6-6, but I don't think that's going to happen at all.
Okay.
Then why are you bringing it up?
Yeah. I don't know if I like your attitude right
Just
now.
giving you my take. Sorry. That's also key for I had nothing else to say, so I'm just gonna piggyback off y'all's topic.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, off top of your head, we're halfway through the baseball SEC season. So who do you think from A&M could be all conference players at the halfway point?
Nico Partita, Caden Sorrell.
Nico Partita, okay. Interesting. I think he's freshman of the year.
Nobody on the pitching side, I don't think, at this point.
Are you familiar with a guy named Gavin Grohovic?
Yeah, Gavin Grohovic, too. He's in that mix, for sure.
So those three?
Yeah. Is that what I told you before the show?
Yeah, I wonder if Partita is going to be all conference or freshman of the year, if they're going to designate, or both. So I like that guy, though.
Let's go check in at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Justin Paez is there. Justin, what up, buddy?
I'm doing really good. I'm actually pretty excited because it's supposedly, according to the YouTube chat, we're in the presence of Jeff Bridges over there with OB's look.
Somehow,
like the dude.
Add another one. I've been hearing so many.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, and then
Jesus.
I
don't see Jesus.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, yeah.
Yeah, it was that Easter week, so people were just in that frame of mind. I've heard Jack Morris, the pitcher.
That one's probably the best.
I've heard Mark Twain.
Yeah.
I've heard Colonel Sanders.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
what about the manager?
The dude, is that Jeff Bridges?
Yeah, Jeff Bridges, the dude.
Yeah, so that's the second one from.
You remember the movie Major League?
Yeah.
The manager.
Oh, Lou Brown.
Lou Brown, that's it, yeah.
Forget the curveball. Ricky, give him the heater.
How do you remember lines from
That's
every
really
movie?
I love that movie. I bet you I've watched that movie 100 times.
What about Major League 2?
No, it sucked.
It did. It was terrible. Give us something, Justin.
Yeah, well, you were talking about all conference honors. Well, something last night happened. It was the A&M Legacy Awards. So I was just going to shout out some of the names of Aggie athletics that won some awards. We saw Kendall Stowers come down with 3 different awards.
Yeah.
Newcomer of the Year, Loman Inspiration Award, and she made the academic team. We saw Le'Veon Moss win the Inspiration Award. We saw Lauren Ware of women's basketball win the Comeback Award. We saw Sasha Solovev win Newcomer of the Year from track and field. Athlete of the Year for men went to Cassius Howell. And Athlete of the Year for the women went to Finna Kazakpala.
So Cassius Howell, Athlete of the Year. I'm trying to think. I mean, you can't go wrong with Cassius or KC.
He was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
But you're right. You could, if you said KC,
nobody's going to blink at either one, right?
In fact, I'm not discounting what the young lady did, okay? Because I don't know, and it must have been amazing. But it'd have to be amazing for KC not to be the Newcomer of the Year.
Right.
So it must have been tremendous season.
Do you have some of the numbers behind that?
Of numbers, like their stats?
Who was the Newcomer of the Year?
We can look it up.
Newcomer of the Year for the men was Sasha Solovev. He was in studio maybe a few weeks ago.
You know what? That's how stupid I am. So I heard Sasha.
And you thought?
And I thought woman.
Who was the female athlete of the year again?
Female athlete of the year was Finna Kazakpala.
Finna, okay. Good stuff for Finna.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Live, I don't know what we got. We got something. My computer locked up. But we'll chit-chat about sports. How about that?
We'll do that.
Yeah, I'm good at talking about sports.
Sports, that's what we do.
That's what we do. We also eat.
Oh, heck yeah, we eat. Because eating is like a sport.
It is a sport, but when I go to 1775, if I'm going to complain about 1775, this is my complaint, okay?
Okay.
It is so good that I run stop signs eating. I just gorge.
Yeah.
That's my complaint. It's so good that I keep eating and eating and eating. And I'm usually pretty good at restraint. I'm usually disciplined. Not when I go to 1775.
There's no place for discipline.
No.
That's a place for pleasure.
Use your hands.
You just get in there and eat you some of that succulent brisket. Some of those.
Why are you running when you're doing that?
Because I'm running to 1775. I want to run over there and get some.
That's
and it's
like
not
dance
even
fever,
open until
too.
Thursday. I got that dance fever. I want to boogie down over. That's awful. Remember that song?
Of course I do.
Anyway, but
keep dancing.
It makes I'm going to moonwalk all the way.
What's that? Adam West dancing?
All the way to 1775. You know what I think?
What do you think?
I think we were talking about competitive
Competitive
eating as a sport.
Yeah, Joey Chestnut.
They do that thing at New York.
Yeah,
with the hot dogs. Well, why don't you do that at 1775?
But with brisket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even pork ribs or the jalapeno cheese sausage.
I'm going to go ahead and say this.
Queso mac and cheese.
I think I could compete with the best eaters at TexAgs. I think if we had Bronny included, I think I might give him a run for his money if it was, all right, you got to eat as much brisket as you can in the next 12 minutes.
I think that'd be a great event for us to have is like the TexAgs barbecue eating challenge.
Eat off.
I eat off the plate. But the best part of that would be watching you train to win.
Oh, there would be no doubt it'd be a train. I'd be so fat by the end of it, but
it'd be glorious.
All right, 13-minute live spot. 1775txbbq.com is the website. 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
It's good.
Hey everyone, David Nuño here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner Schuler's Rollo Insurance Studio. My mic's off? Huh, that's interesting. I kind of heard myself. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio, OB.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, sorry. Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC
Oh, that's
Creations.
what you wanted me to say?
Yeah, I just wanted you to say yes.
Oh.
I can gather my thoughts. OB, let's play a game of the Knockout Performer of the Week, brought to you by TKO Equipment. Rent, sell, lease, or rent to buy TKO Equipment, which is your trusted source for used and heavy equipment.
You know, first of all, there's several people that did great performances this week, but I'm biased by the ones I actually saw.
Okay.
Gavin Grohovic.
Oh, yeah.
You know, what a weekend he had.
4 for 9, 5 RBIs, 2 triples, a double. Was fantastic.
Yeah. So that he comes to mind, you know. Caden Sorrell comes to mind.
4 for 10, a homer, 3 doubles, 5 RBIs. Do I sound like an AI bot when I'm doing that? Huh. My mic's having problems. And Nico. How about Nico?
And Nico Partita.
Nico Partita, he just had good games all around. He's been great all season long.
Yeah, he has. He's going to be if he's not the SEC Freshman of the Year.
Then they stop giving the award out.
Yeah. Well, provided he plays the rest of the schedule the way he's been playing.
Yeah. Let's, Justin.
And then there's KK Dement.
Oh, she's demented at the plate.
Get him demented.
Give us some KK stats, Justin.
Yeah, KK on the weekend had 11 at-bats, 2 runs, 4 hits, 6 RBIs. She was awesome. She had the grand slam, which was the second of the season. I was going to give a shout-out to a lot of the other players, too, that did really good. Kennedy Powell, 13 at-bats, 7 hits, 4 runs, multiple hits in all of the games. Michaela Wark had 8 at-bats, 5 runs, 3 hits, 7 RBIs, hit her 18th home run of the season. And Kelsey Mathis, who we don't hear about too often, but she had a great performance on Saturday, a 5 RBI career high.
And, of course, you could say probably any number of players from the women's SEC champion tennis team. And then Gavin Lyons,
Heck yeah. I
mean, that was he knocked out the Longhorns when he came in.
He did. I'm gonna give another one out, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna give Michael Early.
Michael Early.
All right. All the buttons he pushed were the right buttons, all right?
They were.
And against a guy who is an elite coach, regardless of what you feel about him, he's an elite coach. He got Michael Early pushed the right buttons while the other guy didn't.
Yes. The other guy was pushing a lot of buttons too.
So many buttons.
So many buttons.
So those are mine. And look, you can throw in Trisha Ford. You can throw in Mark Weaver. Like there's a lot of people you can throw in because it was a very good weekend for Aggie sports.
It was the kind of weekend that we should have almost every weekend. A&M was winning. They were winning big series. They were winning championships. That's what should be expected here.
Yeah, the expectation. All right, when we come back here on TexAgs Live, Charean the Dream Williams will be joining us right now. Ground shuttle, they offer frequent and reliable shuttles from Bryan College Station to George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston. You can commute in style and in comfort with luxury shuttles, reclining seats, power outlets. Enjoy the ride. Catch up on work emails, read a book while your shuttle driver takes care of all the driving. You know when you go to Bush, it is very hectic. The parking situation is never guaranteed. The drive is not fun. You got to deal with the Houston traffic. Sometimes the Beltway is a disaster and always a disaster right by the airport. So let them handle it for you. They'll pick you up. They'll drop you off. They'll do it all for you. And they also have charter services anywhere in Texas, door-to-door service, hassle-free, and you can seat up to 14 passengers. They're a local company, and they're going to take great care of you right next to Casa de Brazil in South College Station. The website is groundshuttle.com. That is groundshuttle.com. Or call them up, 855-303-4415. It's Ground Shuttle. Let them do the driving. All right, we are at TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Let's go to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. This is where we find Charean Williams, Pro Football Talk, the Aggie Hall of Famer, our dear friend. She rocks. Charean, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Exceptionally well, especially after that baseball weekend, Charean.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. Good weekend for softball. Good weekend for baseball. Good weekend for track and field. Just a good weekend all the way around. I hope we have more of those this year.
How much of the baseball series were you able to catch? And just what you think about the way, I phrased it earlier, Michael Early pushed all the right buttons while the other coach probably didn't.
Yeah, I was at both games. It was exciting. It was thrilling. Certainly liked the 8 runs in the first inning. Didn't like the 2-hour rain delay, but we just sat there and we were underneath for a while and then came back to the stands. But it was a fun time to see them score like they did against some really good supposed pitchers. And I honestly think the crowd had something to do with the way those pitchers performed. If you haven't played, even if you've played in that atmosphere, but especially if you haven't played in that atmosphere, you don't know what to expect. And, when the crowd is chanting your name and doing all those things and calling you stupid, it has to have an effect. And you just don't get that anywhere else. And there's no way to prepare for that. So I do think that the crowd played a part in the way those pitchers pitched over the weekend. But you're right. Michael Early pulled all the right strings, did all the right things, especially after the rain delay on Saturday. And I don't think Jim Schlossnagle did. So kudos to Coach Early and how he's done this season. To me, it's been a really good coaching job, especially losing the players that he lost early on, that he's done. And he should be considered for SEC Coach of the Year.
All those things, of course. She's right. But Charean, listen, you just talked about the crowd, and you're a part of it. What I want to ask you is, look, I know Charean, lifelong Aggie, embrace the culture, embrace, all the things A&M stands for. She's a perfect example of what an Aggie's supposed to be. The traditions, I know you like the traditions. So I have to ask you, how disappointed were you in the crowd that they were booing Schlossnagle and not hissing like Aggie's tradition would tell them to do?
How did I know where you were going with that? I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. We need more of that, I think. You can't, nobody knows what the hisses are anymore. So I liked it. And I thought he deserved it. And maybe it's the one time that Aggies do it. Maybe it's only reserved for, traitors, people we feel are traitors. But maybe it started a new tradition. I don't know. We're going to see, I guess, when we get into some of these other sports, getting back into football and see what happens.
Were you booing too?
I might have had one or two. I have to admit.
Charean, which college football coach or coaches you think are going to be prime candidates for NFL jobs a year from now?
Whew, that's a tough one. Everybody always points to Sark just because of his experience in the NFL. And it's generally more offensive guys than defensive guys. I think you look that way. But, you have to consider Kirby Smart just from what he's done at Georgia, the program that he's established. So I'd put Kirby Smart in that category as well. But Sark, I think, would be among those at the top of the list just because he is an offensive guy and he has NFL experience. So those would probably be the two I would point to more than any others. But, I think, a lot of them have said they're not going to the NFL. They like the college atmosphere and what it's about. So we really haven't seen that big run, at least in the head coaching rank. Now, you saw a lot of assistant coaches go from the college rank. I thought it was more, and I noticed it more than usual. And I think the NFL now has gotten easier. By easier, I mean you don't have to deal with NIL, you do deal with money, but in a different way in the NFL than you do in college football. And I think that's changed things. And then with players transferring every year, I think has changed things. So I do think we've seen a big group of assistant coaches go to the NFL, but the head coaches, it really hasn't happened. So I don't know whether it will or won't. At some point you kind of run out of candidates for things. So you would think they would at least look at the college ranks if you're looking for a head coach, because there's a lot of good coaches in college football.
It all depends on who's given the opportunity, right? Like, first of all, why wouldn't anybody, no matter, go after Cignetti? Right. But the one coach that I think, given the opportunity, that I thought would never leave college football, but if given the opportunity, be Dabo, because he hates so much the transfer portal and NIL that I just do away with it. I move on. But I don't know that he can get that opportunity.
And I don't know if his style would translate.
That's why I say given the opportunity. And Lane Kiffin is always one more dollar away from going back.
Yeah, I just don't know that Lane's done enough maybe he will at LSU, and he would be intriguing, probably, maybe, to be given another chance in the NFL. I mean, he's done that once, so we'll see if that if he gets another opportunity with SIG. I mean, we don't know. And if I'm a head coach, I certainly think if I'm looking for a head coach, I certainly think I would call him, and they probably did call them. They probably did call him. Sorry, I've got a situation here with the dog. They probably did call him. At least I would, if I was looking for a head coach. I would have made that phone call. We don't know. They probably made that phone call, a lot of them. And he said, no, I'm staying here. And he's established at Indiana and probably doesn't want to start over in the NFL. And I don't blame him. He won a national championship for a school that's not known for football. And the way he did it was unbelievable. So kudos to him for, what he did at Indiana. But it doesn't sound like to me he wants to go to the NFL. But I would bet my next paycheck that NFL teams at least made that phone call to his agent to say, hey, would he be interested? And I guarantee you he said no.
I think Marcus Freeman could work in the NFL.
Yeah, I think guys would play for him.
Yeah. What do you think, Charean?
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. And I think he'd probably be one that NFL teams would look at. I certainly would. I'd give him a phone call if I was looking for a head coach. If you don't have somebody readily in mind, who it might be.
Charean, what's the latest on Tank Dell and the Texans? How's he looking?
Yeah, he's working his way back. He'll play this year. I don't know when exactly he'll come back. He'll play this year. It was a huge injury. How well he comes back from that, we'll see. He's got to get it to where it's right, and there's chance that it won't be right. But at some point we'll play, and we'll get to figure out how good he can be again. He was very good before he got that injury, and if he can get back to at least close to where he was, I think the Texans will benefit from that. So, I look to see him again. It's an injury. I think all injuries like that were devastating, they cost you a year. That second year is probably better coming back from that injury.
Okay, next week's going to be a big week. So, how many Aggies in the first round? 1, 2, 3, 0? You're calling.
There's a possibility for 3. I think there's 1 for sure. I think KC Concepcion is a lock to go in the first round. And then, Cassius is next and has a shot, and Chase DeSantis has a chance to go in the first round. If I'm guessing, probably 1, and then I think Cassius and Chase DeSantis go early in the second round.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be surprised if all 3 of them go in the first round.
Wow.
You just never know. Again, it only takes one team to like you. One team likes you, they draft you, and you're suddenly a first-round draft pick.
Charean, great stuff. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Charean Williams on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Appreciate her time. We'll hit a break. Come back with the final segment of the Go Hour. Right now at Caldwell Country Chevrolet, they don't just sell cars, they build relationships. Their strong and committed sales staff is going to take great care of you. They're going to guide you every step of the buying process, and you're going to come away so happy after you buy a vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. And their service doesn't stop after the sale. They offer complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers. Plus, they're a proud supporter of Aggie athletics and local charities. They're invested in this community just like you are. Experience what it's like to do business with a dealership that actually cares, where handshakes still mean something and customer satisfaction is not just a slogan, it's a promise. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. You could be a member of the Bee Gees.
Maybe I'm getting that Barry Gibb hair. Everybody's making comparisons. I probably look like Robin or Maurice, because they're both. Are they both? One of them's dead.
Is Barry with us or no?
I don't know. Barry was still alive.
I don't like when I kill people on the show. I've killed a lot of people on the show.
Barry's the only one still alive.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't like that somebody said that. Okay. By the way, they said that Jesus for me and Justin. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great comparison because everybody wants to be more like him. But no, I don't think there's anything. I think more. Tell me if you agree with this. Rocky IV when he goes to Russia. That's the look I'm going for.
Look, I think Jesus was probably jacked.
Oh, there's no doubt.
I mean, he was a carpenter, right? And they lived in what they live in. They lived in stone homes. So, I mean, if you're cutting stone and brick every day, you're gonna be jacked, right? But speaking of, so I was thinking, I like to see what the competition is doing sometimes. Especially when their team lose.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I used to watch T-Bob. Remember T-Bob?
I love T-Bob.
T-Bob Hebert. And
I saw him on a clip yesterday.
Fun guy.
Yeah.
And Matt Moscona, they used to do a show, a post-game football show.
From a bar.
I think they called it something, cigars and whatever. Anyway, I can't remember what their show was called, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Especially after LSU lost. I remember the one when they lost here when Marcel came off the bench. That was an epic
Oh, there was a lot of four-letter words.
That was so much fun. Anyway, I got to thinking, why don't you and Lucci? Yeah, I'd like to do it, except I'm always writing. Why don't y'all do a...
well, but Billy's always entertaining guests.
That's true. But where would you do one? You're not going to be at the cigar bar. I might. But that's not who you are.
Dude, I'm for sale. You know that. By the way, color number 12.
You're Cuban. Why aren't you smoking a cigar?
A buddy of mine, Ricardo's Cuban, invited me to come smoke a cigar at his house here in College Station. I'm like, I'll watch you.
Yeah, well, maybe you could just hold the cigar. And
that's not my thing.
But
either.
anyway, so you're going to do yours from one of those supplement stores?
When I worked at 1560 The Game, and I was not drinking, we did post-game shows from Nick's Place, which is a sports bar, a dive bar, right?
Uh-huh.
We did it from, I think, Damaris Barbecue. We did it.
Oh,
so I've done bars. Okay, I've done it. I've done it from cell phone stores. I've done it from bars.
Did you get 4 bars at the cell phone
I did
store?
get 4 bars. Yeah, 5G network too. But what would make the most sense for David to do a TexAgs post-game show?
Well, this has got to happen, by the way.
Okay.
Jamba Juice.
Jamba Juice.
Yeah.
Live from Jamba Juice.
Is there a broccoli ice cream store that we can go to?
But they'd probably make it. I mean, you just make vanilla and chop up some broccoli.
Boom Fitness. There you go. Shout out to Charlie Lima. Boom Fitness. That's where I'll do my post-game wrap.
Is there a Boom? Is it here in College Station?
Yeah. There's 2 locations, yeah. They do high rocks training there. They do it all.
With people working out in the background?
Yes, absolutely. And I could do a set. Do you remember that one time we did a pre-game video on the treadmill at a hotel?
Yeah.
And we were actually walking backwards.
That was pretty cringe.
That was
up in Chicago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Before the Notre Dame.
It was before the Notre Dame. So I would say Boom Fit or Brazos Valley MMA, one of my places.
Oh, yeah, with people fighting in the back.
Absolutely.
You and Lucci?
I mean, I'd be willing, but my shoulder.
Or who else could do it? If not Luch, who else would?
Bronny?
Yeah. Bronny in a gym. I could see that.
Yeah, I take my chances.
This needs to happen.
I'm in.
Like I said, I'd love to do it, except
we got post game wrap coming up this weekend. I got to figure out who's going to be on it. But Saturday after the spring game, I'm doing one. If there's somebody who wants to do it from their location, holla at your boy.
I would like to do it where I could say bad words like Moscona.
Oh, you want like an R-rated version,
like theirs.
You know, my philosophy is I try not to cuss in English.
Oh.
I do, but I try not to.
I've never heard you say a bad word.
No, you have.
Okay.
Especially when I get angry. And you wouldn't like me when I get angry.
Okay, Hulk.
But I think in Spanish, it doesn't count. Right? Don't you agree with that, Justin?
Yes.
Spanish bad words don't count.
Yeah.
See.
That's how it is. Anyway, thank you, OB. Appreciate you. When we come back here on TexAgs Live, the Dream Weaver, Mark Weaver.
Yeah.
Talking to Mark on the other side, SEC champions. Yeah, that's what they do. They win. They're going to continue winning. That's coming up next on TexAgs. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm going to steal a line from OB. Mark Weaver's in studio with us, talk a little A&M women's tennis. They won another SEC championship. That's 5 now. He said, what are you going to become, a rapper and have a bunch of rings all over the place? Congratulations on another SEC. I know you're in the middle of it all, but congratulations.
Well, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
So while you're in the middle of it, is it kind of hard to process? Like I was reading, this matches Florida's record in the late 80s and 90s of getting 5 the way you all have, 5 straight SEC titles. Has that sunk in of just how rare this is?
I don't think it's quite sunken in yet. Maybe when I retire one day, I'll really kind of look back and, wow, that was something else. But, we definitely enjoyed the victory that day, and there's just always the next thing to do. Get back home and start preparing for the SEC tournament. We'll be leaving here in just a bit, and just working on recruiting, and there's always some next task at hand. So, but it's been a wild ride, that's for sure, and I'm just really proud of our girls for all they've put into it and the consistency of not only of the season, but just over the course of the last several years. It's not easy.
Well, obviously it takes great athletes to do what you all have been able to do. But when you started making your framework of how you wanted this program to look and be, like, are some of those early ideas still being implemented? Have you evolved? Like, how is it? I mean, obviously the industry, the sport is evolved. Like,
right.
NIL has changed the game. There's a lot that's changed.
Right.
But do you still have some of those initial blueprints still in it?
I would say so. I'm really pleased with the culture that we have. It's a very hardworking group, and we like to think of ourselves as a very blue-collar group. And the girls work extremely hard. They really do, and they want it really bad. And it's just the work ethic's just off the charts. I feel like the intensity and the practices, and they fight so hard out there. They fight every single point of the match, and definitely the blueprints have been there for quite a long time, and I've really stuck true to those. And I think just even the values that we preach each and every day. And I'm definitely trying to evolve in this new world of college athletics and in an NIL, and just give ourselves the best opportunity so we can maintain the level that we've been fortunate enough to do.
So I know nice and happy Mark. Okay, that's the one I know. I see him at church. I see him at the gym. I see him in the studio, press conferences. I know there's an intense version of you, right? Who's more the you for the most part? Are you more the intense version, or are you more or does it kind of depend on the scenario?
It depends on the scenario. You don't want to make the other side of Mark Weaver angry. I know that. But no, I would say 98, 99% of the time, what you see from me at church and at the gym, that's me.
Yeah.
It does take a little bit to get me riled up, but you don't want to get me riled up.
I like that. I like that answer. Let's talk about the last week. Initially Oklahoma, and then obviously getting it done in Arkansas. Just kind of take me through that.
Yeah, it was a really tough match at Oklahoma. We didn't play our best, but we played at a pretty good level. They're on a roll right now. I think they've won 12 in a row. It was kind of the perfect storm of they were confident playing at home. They had a nice crowd out. It was a very, very windy day, and not to make excuses, we play in the wind quite often ourselves. It's tough conditions. We had some opportunities. Could have won the doubles point, maybe should have won the doubles point. That would have maybe set a better tone for the match. We had some first sets we could have won at 4 and 5 singles, and there was a way for us to win, that's for sure. And we just couldn't seem to win the big points. We lost a lot of no-ad points, but to their credit, they played with tons of energy, and they just kind of took it from us. And it's a great bounce back. I think that's kind of been the story of the season. We haven't lost a lot, but every time we've lost, we've kind of come back stronger and better. And we played a really good match against Arkansas. They've had a rough go this season, but they played very well. It was senior day there, and we won a very difficult doubles point, and then we really took it to them pretty good in the singles. There was a lot of tension. I was actually getting into the referees a little bit, believe it or not, and we all could kind of see the finish line of getting another championship. There was definitely a lot of tension in the air, but I feel like the girls really handled it well out there.
What's your approach in between? a rough outing to a great outing? Like, is there a lot of conversation? Do you let it just stew? Like, and what's, I guess it depends on the profile of your team, right? Each team has got its own kind of identity.
Right. Yeah, we had a good talk after the Oklahoma match in the locker room, and the message was, I'm ready to move on. Let's all move on. And one of the things I said is, if you could have told me back in August that we could go play Arkansas to win another SEC title, we would have all signed up for that. And I just said, let's get some rest tonight, get a good drive to Fayetteville, and let's get a good practice, all business, and we all just kind of move forward. And one of my messages all the time is just, you have to have short-term memory in the SEC, whether you win or whether you lose. Every match is a battle. The new rankings come out today. The top 4 teams in the nation, so all SEC, Georgia, us, I believe it's Oklahoma and Auburn it'll be. And, LSU is the 9 seed, and they're honestly could potentially win a national title. Their top 4 is the best, as good as any top 4 in the nation. So it's short-term memory, and you just got to move on and get ready for the next match. And I think we've done a great job of that this season and over the years.
This program has gotten used to winning, but I know you work for that. But has this group in particular so far maybe exceeded your expectations, or no, this is our standard, this is what we do, no matter if it's new players, young players, this is what we do?
Well, we have very lofty goals every season, and there was probably more uncertainty this year going into the season than the years past. And maybe in the recent years, we've had a pretty loaded roster from, Mary Stoyana to Carson Brandstein. You could go, the list goes on. And, Mary graduated, and Nicole Kieran went out with the midseason surgery, and she could have been perhaps Luciana Perez is number 1 in the nation right now, and Nicole could have possibly been number 1 in the nation, so we lost her, and we had some new faces, transfers, freshmen. So there was definitely a lot of uncertainty in the air, and the margins are so slim. But yeah, if anything, we've exceeded expectations to some extent, in my opinion.
Luciana, you mentioned her number 1, 22-0 on the year. Just talk about the season she's put together.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, every girl deserves tons of credit, but I feel like in a lot of ways, Luciana's season has kind of set the tone. Anytime you can go out and your number 1 player is undefeated, and not only undefeated, she's hardly lost sets. I think she might have lost 1 or 2 sets all season, playing the best with the best schedule in the nation, the toughest schedule in the nation, and just seeing her improve from season to season, and that's kind of what we're all about. We take a lot of pride in our girls getting better. That's what we promised them in the recruiting journey, and I think she's just proof of our system works, and just so much credit to Luciana, just unbelievable season she's had.
Well, she's an example. There's countless examples of that, of getting better. How much of the proof of concept helps you when you are recruiting a transfer or a high school player?
Yeah, that's one of our go-to messages. You're going to get better. My assistants are good at preparing these recruiting packets a little better than I am, but we have the data to kind of show of how they've jumped in their UTRs, their rankings, and all those good things. And I think the proof's in the pudding, probably.
How about Mia getting her 30th career SEC regular season win in the Arkansas match, a milestone, obviously. You just talk about her, another example of development.
Yeah, it's hard to believe Mia's going to be graduating here pretty soon. Her years have gone by very quickly. And Mia had a rough go against Oklahoma. It was great to see her bounce back. I believe she was the first one off in the singles perhaps there, and that was a big match for her. But Mia's just had an awesome career, singles and doubles, All-American, and just such a hard worker, great kid. She's very good in the classroom as well, way smarter than the coaching staff. So I think that helps her. A great athlete, works hard, very smart, and she just sets the bar very high for herself. And she's also just been a great leader for us for 4 years. Maybe a quiet leader in some ways, but you can see the intensities there at all times.
And then Lexington Reed also playing some of the best of all year.
Yeah, Lexington's improved tremendously. She came in last year and played 6, and yeah, she had a good season, but I wouldn't say it was an unbelievable season. She definitely carried her own weight, but she's improved tremendously. She's been playing a lot at 3 or 4 this year. Her record's, I'm pretty sure, quite a bit better than it was last season. Just nice to see her make strides, and we really challenged her in some off-court things that she worked really hard over the summer with. Her movement was one of them. She's a tall girl, plays a big game, and she's gotten much better. Tennis is such a movement, physical sport these days because everybody hits the ball so hard, and she's really become a much better mover on the court, and I think that's given her a lot of confidence as well. She's also improved her serve a lot. Her serve's become a really big weapon compared to maybe last year.
Well, Mark, earlier you talked about the hardest schedule in tennis, right? And that's not only SEC teams, right? Like you've mentioned, where 5 of them in the top 10 that are fantastic. But like, how much did that prepare you think, for this postseason run you're about to start?
Yeah, we start the season out maybe with a few kind of, for lack of better words, a few gimme matches, some doubleheaders to kind of get our feet wet and going, and to get over those early season nerves. And I think just being able, every match is a big match. It truly is. And when we approach these conference deciding matches or the conference tournament or the NCAA tournament, it kind of just feels the same as any other match in a sense, because every match is just at the highest of levels. And I think the way we prepare and the practices, we bring it every day. I feel like the transition from the practices to the matches are pretty similar feeling. And then when you are playing, top 5, top 10 teams all the time, it definitely feels, it's not easy, but it definitely feels more comfortable when you're playing these, semifinal, final matches, or a match that you can win another conference title off of.
So what's the schedule like? Friday is the quarterfinals. Do you leave today?
Yes, we're going to leave a little early today. We're going to get there. There's going to a little iffy weather. Not quite sure what all the practices are going to look like just yet. But as of now, we'll play 12 o'clock Friday, likely Vanderbilt. They have a very good team. That they beat Georgia early in the season. We had a 2 tough matches with them this season. We did get them both times, and it's a tricky one. It's nice to have the double bye, but part of me doesn't like it because you're playing a team that's already played a match and ready to go. So that's part of why we're getting there a little earlier, and then get used to the conditions. And the good news is we were just there in Norman a few days ago, so it should be a pretty easy transition. So.
How many years in a row have you faced Georgia in the final? Is it 3?
I guess we've been in the NCAA finals the last 2 years, but we also played them at the National Indoor Finals as well. And I want to say we might have played Georgia 5 or 6 years straight in the SEC tournament finals. I believe that's what you're asking. I believe it's been maybe 5 or 6 years in a row we've played in the SEC finals.
So how do you feel going into the SEC tournament? Overall?
Yeah, I think in the recent years, it was kind of almost always going to be us in Georgia, and at least you felt that way. Obviously, that was never a certainty, but I think it could go either way. I think there's going to be if I had to guess, it might be a few upsets on the quarterfinal rounds, having to play a team that's already played, and honestly, like the 9 team is just about as good as the 1 team. So I just think it's a wide open draw right now. I'll take the Aggies in Georgia in the finals again, but that'll be honestly, like, there's no telling who's going to be there on that last day. The margins between 1 and 9 are about an inch or 2. So
well, and I think Coach Henry tells me that oftentimes the SECs feel even more difficult than the NCAA tournament itself because of the NCAA Invitational, just because of the volume of really good teams that you run into in every round. And it's the same way for women's tennis. No, I agree. A friend of mine just texted me a couple days ago. He says, wow, you've won the SEC 5 years in a row. It's like winning the national title 5 years. It kind of is in a sense. I think you could make an argument it's almost tougher, but we all know the national title is the big prize. But you could almost argue it's probably every bit, if not more challenging. So. Well, I mean, just to reflect for a moment, 5 straight SECs. You've got the #1 women's player in the world or in the country, and playing some of your best tennis at the end of the season. That's exactly how you want to be going into the postseason, right?
Exactly, and that's another one of our messages is this, always get better and always get better throughout the season. And I think we've been very fortunate. We've been very fortunate to stay healthy over the years. That's a big part of it. Obviously, everybody's a bit dinged up. You get a little strain here, a little strain there, but we are getting better all throughout the season this year, and we've been able to do that in recent years. And we're headed in the right direction, and I really feel like we're getting better every day. And I'm very pleased with that.
Coach Weaver, thank you, sir. Appreciate you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll hit a break. Right now, we're talking about our good friends at Guarantee Bank and Trust. They've been around since 1913, over 100 years of experience. And in this market, you've got 3 amazing locations. You've got Bryan College Station, deeply invested in these routes. When you go to one of the locations, see if you can talk to Brandon Sears, A&M alum. He leads the Bryan College Station team. But everybody who works there is fantastic. A community bank wants to take care of you. They're part of the community. They're invested in the community. They're all over the place. And they want to make sure that they make local decisions and that you know that these are people that you can trust. They grow stronger for their community. They want to help out with your financial education, your home ownership, local business, nonprofit efforts, everything right here in this great community. They want to shape and help our community grow stronger. They're known for their exceptional relationship-based banking, so make sure when you go there, you feel it because it is a community bank and everyone who's there is there to help you feel better. Check out the website, gnty.com. That is gnty.com. 33 great locations all across Texas. It is Guaranteed Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's talk a little Aggie women's golf. Really great run. The Mo just happened. Head coach Gerrod Chadwell is in studio to talk all about it. What's up, man?
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. This is our favorite time of the year.
Yeah. Well, it's a little hardware right next to you.
Yeah.
And
we like this one.
And this one, I mean, you always have to earn it, but you had to earn it this week. This past week.
This was tough. It's funny. Brandon told me that we've went toe to toe with Baylor 3 times this year, and I think we've won by just 3 strokes or a couple strokes every single time.
Is that right?
And they're a good team. I think their ranking doesn't really reflect how good they are. I don't. If we see them for the 4th time, I imagine it to come down to that too. So, very gritty performance. That seems like we got better each week. Traditions won.
Yeah.
You saw the scores, but it's hard to win at home. It really is.
Well, I was going to say it's the 9th time that you all have won it, but you can't take it for granted because it's such a difficult course, and the teams that you come in, they kind of know it as well. I mean, Baylor's been here a few times.
Baylor's been here a few times, and Jay and I are very cordial. Their coach, like they're hosting a regional this year. They allowed us to come over and play. They came over and played earlier before the practice round, but I think it's just that, and I think you probably have undue expectations because it is the only home tournament we have all year. You're sleeping in your own bed. You got a lot of family and friends in town. There's just a lot of things going on where maybe it's just not the singular focus. Where if we get on the road, there's not many distractions.
But also because you know it so well, it plays into some strategy.
A massive advantage. I think Corton, the men's team has a regional this year, and no matter what seed they are, they would probably be the favorite. Just how much of an advantage knowing that golf course is. So, I know it's the golf course was great this year. We did a little deal on Wednesday where we had a lot of people turn out to watch and kind of see the girls and be around our sport, which I thought was a hit. And so, hopefully, we continue to add touches on it where we get more people around our program.
So, 5th title of the season, tying a program record. And at least from an outsider's perspective, I knew you all were going to be good because that's the kind of program you built, right? That's what you do.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's happened a little bit quicker than I expected potentially.
Yeah. I was looking at something because we're getting into this time of year where, really we leave for SECs tomorrow, and that's our last event before seeding comes out for regionals. And I looked, and we are 110 this year. And that's crazy when you think about that in other sports.
Mm-hmm.
Like if baseball were to go 50-5, like that's an unreal year. We've only finished out of the top 3 one time this year. So it's just, you don't take them for granted, but you get pretty spoiled with being in the hunt every single time you tee it up. And I think they're very comfortable showing up knowing that, which is exciting for this next week.
5 different starting lineups in your victories?
Yes, 5 different starting lineups.
That's got to be rare, right? Or
it is in our sport because I've said this a lot on the show with you that we have competitive depth. And I think in our sport, that's really hard because we have, in comparison to the guys, we have more scholarship dollars on average before this new model of the rev share era. So, young ladies can go get full scholarships a lot of places. So, if you have 5 really good ones, that's great. Sometimes you don't even have 5 just because you can go a lot of places. But for us to have, all of our kids can play. And so just to have that constant push every time we qualify, and we've qualified a lot this year to try and get the best 5 each week, I think that's made us pretty razor sharp.
So you were trailing Baylor heading into the final round. What are the conversations leading up to it?
I think almost in what you said, like, we know traditions is going to tradition.
Yeah.
So there is one tradition.
It's traditions.
But it is traditions. But, I think we know the front 9 plays really tough. So it's not survive. You just got to manage it. We finally, I think the last round, the wind blew the least, and it was out of a familiar place. And we actually weren't very clean. We didn't finish very well. But we got to a pretty comfortable lead and kind of maintained that all the way through the back 9. I think the hard part to that week, our 2 better players for this year, Vanessa and Kata, had just come off the week at Augusta. So they were pretty mentally and physically drained. So we probably didn't have the best version of them. V's round on the first day was extraordinary. I think she shot 71 on probably the toughest day of the week coming off of her week. And that was one of the best rounds of golf I'd seen. But we had Natalie Yin shot 71 final round from a freshman. That's massive. So it was a total team effort where somebody didn't carry us all the way through. But I think that was probably something that we hadn't had this year, was the fatigue going into it from those two.
How was their Augusta experience?
Unreal. Katza didn't play well again, but still lights up there. And V, just had an amazing week. She got it going, made some noise on the Saturday round at Augusta, was a couple under through 6, and kind of made an unforced error on 7, and that kind of let the momentum out of her round because she was going to need something really special. Chipped in on 12, iconic hole, par 3, where Rory really flipped the Masters this year over to his advantage. But they both represented us very well. And for Vanessa's first time, I thought she handled everything extremely well.
How about TexAgs correspondent Sky Sudbury? Just a really good round too.
Yes, and Sky has probably been, I don't know what accolade you would give her from the year. She's finally had a consistent year, and I think that's what has Sky up to this point in and out of the lineup. Her out has just been lack of consistency, but she's played every event for us. Is kind of, in a sense, some way the glue, where she's just steady emotionally, but had a good week for us at the Mo. But yeah, when you put a microphone in front of her face, she really shines.
She's really good.
She represents herself and us really well.
How about Natalie, as a freshman as well?
I think that's Natalie is starting to become more consistent. I think her final round was massive, and you saw that coming. Natalie, at the beginning of the year, she would maybe have a bad hole or 2 bad holes around that would maybe kind of cloud what she was really doing well for 16 holes, where it might be a 74 or 75 instead of probably now it's becoming more 71 or 70. So I think that's just her getting more comfortable with everything that goes on with us. She's still a freshman. It's the same thing with Bryn. Bryn has played a lot for us, and they're still freshmen no matter what we want to say. But that bodes well for our future too.
What about the come from behind gene? This team's come from behind on several different instances with the postseason. It's going to get difficult. That's what the postseason is about. Just talk a little bit to that point.
I think that probably leads to just how well they treat each other and the love that they have for each other. I don't think that happens if there's dissension or a bad vibe going into the week. I think that's one of the, we talk about the beginning of the year. That's a choice that they make. We can't force that on them. We can't make them get along. We can't make them find common interests in each other. But that's a choice that they have to make. And on our side of the building, the women's side, sometimes that's a little harder than not. Right. Guys tend to forgive a little bit quicker, and they just let things roll. But I think they've accepted each other. And for our older players, they accepted the younger players, and they're really good. And the younger players have leaned into the older players of really how we go about doing things. But I'll say it again, it's a choice that they make. And hopefully our environment fosters that. But they still have to choose to love and care about each other, whether they're in the lineup or out of the lineup.
So what's the schedule like this week heading to Florida?
We take off tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a banquet there. It's just kind of they honor the seniors, and we get ready for the week. We'll play our practice round first thing Thursday morning, and then we're off and running Friday. We'll play 54 holes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The top 8 will go into a match play bracket. On Monday, should you keep advancing, you'll play 2 matches, and then Tuesday, if you got a tee time on Tuesday, you're playing for the whole thing. So we're good enough to do that. We got to be a little bit cleaner than we have really this past month, but we're really good enough to go stake our flag in the ground on Tuesday.
So you feel good about the direction you're going?
I do, because I know we're good enough from what's happened this year. We haven't played, honestly, that well, if you ask me, this past month. But maybe that's a sign of good things that we survive our bad days. Sometimes your bad days can knock you out of a tournament.
Right.
But maybe our bad days aren't as bad as maybe they have been in the past. So that's another good thing. Because when you go to a national championship, you got to have 72 holes of stroke play. So I wish we could have been a little bit more cleaner the last few events, but that's just something for us to learn.
How does that compare? And I hate comparing different teams, but just hear me out for a second. Yep. How does that compare to other years? How you're playing entering at this point? Like when you've been really good, have you had maybe a little bit more difficult road, playing not as good as you can, but still good enough to win? Yeah. Like, does it translate?
I look at those first 2 years where we finished, semifinalists in the country. the first year we didn't even make match play at SECs, and then we go, finish third or fourth in the country. The year after that, we win 5 or 6 times, and we look a lot like this team. And we played really good in stroke play. I think that year was the year we won an SEC championship. But both of those two can coexist in a sense. Like, I just think the maturity of this team and what we've experienced up to this year, like our schedule is really difficult. And to say we've only finished outside the top 3 one time, I think that bodes well just as much for our good golf as our bad golf. And you're going to eventually probably have a not ideal day, whether at SECs, regionals, or nationals, and you got to survive that day to keep going. So I think that probably, if that's a long answer to, what kind of the makeup of this run could be like. But I think I'll say this: we haven't seen our best golf yet. And I'm excited for that because I think that's ahead. And if that comes out the right time, this team could win a national championship.
My favorite part of that is ... yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and
coming.
we have it. And we have, with that bunch, we truly haven't put it together for 54 holes. So I'm ready for that to come out, and I hope they get to see that.
Coach Chadwell, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. We'll hit a break. And when we come back, Fernando Palomo, we'll talk a little bit about the soccer match at Kyle Field, Argentina versus Honduras. We'll talk a little Aggie football with him as well. Let's talk about Rollo Insurance. They build lasting relationships through education, helping you understand what you're buying, the why behind it. And they have expertise in everything from home to auto to business. They want to take great care of you with their specialty coverage. Their independent agents provide an option tailored specific to your needs. They take time to explain the policy in plain language so you understand everything about what you have, never wondering about the gaps in your coverage. Their educational approach means you're going to be able to make informed decisions to protect your family. Many clients discover protection and competitive rates simply by understanding all of their options. Visit RolloInsurance.com/TexAgs. That is RolloInsurance.com/TexAgs. 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Fernando Palomo is with us here. Talk a little, not Aggie soccer. We can talk Aggie soccer. We can talk World Cup. We can talk it all. We can talk Aggie football. What's up, my friend?
We can talk Aggie football. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. So before we get into the Argentina-Honduras match, your son interned right there, Juan Marcos Palomo, got his Aggie ring on Thursday. How was that experience for you?
Oh, full circle moment.
Yeah.
It was great. It was, I don't know if I ever had my dream was to see my son wearing an Aggie ring, but I know it was his.
Yeah.
Right? And just because they walked their own path and just to see that moment and the emotion, right? When you get something that you've been working so hard for, it was special.
Yeah.
It brought memories of when I got my ring, that's black and white days.
Yeah, well, we're from the same era here at A&M. I think so my son's going to be freshman next year at A&M.
Oh, congrats.
And thank you very much. And for me, it is a dream. Like, I didn't want to push it completely on him, but I did brainwash him a little bit. But it is a dream. Yeah, it is. Like, I want to be able to share Aggie football games with them as Aggies, not just as children, right?
Yeah.
Like, and now when we watch sporting events, because they're about to, start at this university, it feels different for them. And it's just a great father-son, father-daughter, mother-daughter thing. It's amazing.
I knew I did the brainwashing portion of it by bringing them here as much as we could when they were little and going to football games or track meets or spring games or baseball games, basketball games. We took them to as many events as we could. But then it's not up to you, Ray. They can be as Aggies as they can be. And the biggest fans, it's up to their standards to meet the university's standards. And that's when you know that you're putting a lot of pressure on the kids, right? Because it's, they don't get accepted for how much they love the university. They get accepted because they meet the standards academically that the university requires. So that's when you kind of take a step back and say, hey, now it's not up to how much maroon you have in your blood. It's how much you've done in high school to get into this world-class university. And once that process is finalized, then I breathe a sigh of relief, and I'm like, okay, now both of them are here, so now they can walk their own path, and it's fascinating.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that it's extremely fascinating.
I'm going to tell you a story that may not make sense, but it's going to be about you. When I was a kid, I used to say out loud, Charles Barkley needs to play for the Rockets. I kept on asking for it. I kept on saying it. Eventually, it came true. I had nothing to do with it. When you and I started talking years ago, you wanted international soccer at Kyle Field. It's happened a couple different times.
Yeah, just like you and Charles Barkley and the Rockets did not have anything to do with it.
Do you have anything to do with it? Because you put it out there several times.
I've been putting it out there a lot to, I guess, the people that have been listening. I don't know. This is, again, just to be able to say that we have witnessed or watched two soccer games played at one of the best, if not the best stadium in the world. To me, it is the best stadium in the world, but then I'm biased, totally biased about it. But to be able to know that the university expands its name by just jumping on the excitement of the world's most popular sport, it's something to be said. I mean, there's something to be said out there just to be able to present the school and what we stand for, to the fans of those two teams. And then there's fans of those two teams that might not even be from those two countries, right? You get Mexico and Brazil to come down, and then you hear, because of fans of Brazil, they see where their team is playing, and then they want to find out more about it, right? And then the more they find out about it, the more they get to know us, right? And I think that's what's great about it. It's not about just filling the stadium up with fans and the revenue that will entail for the university's athletic department, but it's showcasing our facilities, our university, our values to whoever's watching the game. And we're doing so at a time when the world is going to be watching the sport. The World Cup coming up, and the excitement of who is going to be making the last team rosters and who's going to be making the starting 11s for the teams. It's great times. And again, just as much as you didn't have to or you didn't have anything to do with Barkley going to the Rockets, I don't think I had anything to do with soccer coming to A&M, except for that anybody that I meet in the world of soccer, I tell them, whatever stadium they've been in doesn't doesn't beat our stadium.
Well,
it might tie it up. It will never beat Kyle Field.
We'll talk about it because I assume you've been to the Bernabeu. You've been many places, right? So, like, when you talk about Kyle Field, it's not just because you have an Aggie heart. You've been to some of the biggest stadiums in the world.
I have. I've been blessed with that. My career has taken me to many arenas in the world, and I got to tell you, there's nobody that can match. I mean, they can match Kyle Field's infrastructure, not the spirit that lives in it, right? And there was a book written by a well-known Uruguayan writer, El Fútbol a Sol y Sombra. It's like soccer in sun and shadows. It's very poetic. And it talks about different variables of the sport. And when he touches upon stadiums, he says that stadiums have a soul, right? He talks about the big stadia nowadays with, golden faucets and urinals, not with Schloss's face on them, but, golden-shaped urinals. And although they'll be better if they had Schloss's face on it. And he says that those stadiums, as modern as they could be, they don't have the personality of stadiums that hold the heart in it, right?
Yeah.
That have a spirit. And when we were doing the photo shoot for the announcement on Thursday with Trev and Coach Bobby, you felt the stadium was empty. Kyle Field was, there was no seat filled at that point. But it talks to you.
Yeah.
You feel it, you feel the energy. And it's not because of the moments you lived there, it's because the moment it holds in it. Because I wasn't here when the Jackie Shell days, but I can feel it, right?
Yeah, it's interesting when I go to other stadiums that have this known aura. Sometimes it lives up to it, but oftentimes I'm like, I go to Kyle Field every week. So, like, this is good, but it ain't Kyle Field. Now, I will say Tuscaloosa has a great environment, right? I think most SEC schools do, but
they will all hold to,
Sure, but there is something magical about that place that I think you do feel the spirit. Let's talk about the matchup itself with Argentina and Honduras. I also think people need to realize, like, this is right before the World Cup, so, like, they have to be sharp.
Yeah. Now, Honduras is not going to the World Cup.
Right.
They're going to be playing for something themselves, though, because they just got a new coach. They want to impress the new coach. They want to be able to put their name down on the new cycle. New coach is testing things out, and he's not going to take anybody that doesn't want to hold up to whatever their project is. So they're playing for something. Those players are, at least. Argentina's players, of course, are playing for something more. They're going into the World Cup. Their group is not as demanding. Now with 48 teams, it gets, not the quality, but the level of the teams gets kind of washed out. So they're playing Jordan, Algeria, and Austria in the group. And I don't think anything or any of those teams will demand out of Argentina a lot more than Honduras would, actually. So what they're playing for is to get their legs ready for a long tournament, get used to the heat and the conditions, but also try to gain a spot in the starting 11. Argentina recently has come down with some injuries in important positions. There's still no word on whether Messi is going to be on the roster. If his name is on the roster, I can assure you, and the rosters will come out on June 1st, I can assure you he'll be here and he'll play at least a couple of minutes. But so far, until Messi says, you know what, I am playing in the World Cup, now nothing leads me to think that he's not, because he's playing at a good level. He's playing consistently. He's taking care of himself, right? So he's doing things that would lead you to think that he's at least asking to be considered in the roster. I think, again, out of respect to his coach, he's not saying, I'm playing in the World Cup, because in the end, it's not his decision to play in the World Cup. It's the coach's decision, right? There's no coach in his right frame of mind that would leave Messi out of a World Cup roster if he's ready to play.
Well, and I was also going to say, with the World Cup, Houston, Dallas getting games, just in this area, right? There's a possibility over a month's time, and I'm going to be able to participate in this. You might be able to see two of the greatest soccer players of all time. Ronaldo will be playing at NRG. Hopefully Messi plays here, and maybe even in Dallas. I don't know how the brackets work out. But these are guys that are late in age, still playing at a very high level.
Yeah, Cristiano is 40, Messi is approaching 40. They have created, schools of thought when it comes to deciding which a player deserves the recognition of the best player in history. I'm a believer that the game is so big and it's been played for so long, and there's a distinction in the eras, right? That there's great players for different eras. So they deserve to be considered amongst the greatest of their era, and in that consideration, among the greatest of all time. Each one sees the game differently. You might think of one player, I might think of the other, but yes, we are privileged to still be witnessing them playing at a high level. Cristiano will play in Houston. Messi will have a couple games in Dallas, I believe.
I think he's going to play.
I think he's got 2 in Kansas City and 1 in Dallas. But yes, the state will see 2 of the best in history.
We got to hit a break here, but the way I look at it is Messi won the World Cup. He should get the player, but I would pick Ronaldo for my Real Madrid goggles, and also because it's like Johnny Manziel didn't win it, but I saw it, and I'm taking that guy every time. So that's how I kind of look at it.
It is. It depends on the tastes, right? Yeah. I think of Messi as more of an all-around football mind when it comes to it, or soccer mind. He creates plays, right? Mm-hmm. Ronaldo is a great playmaker. He's a great goal scorer. Messi is a great playmaker, right?
Exactly
and it
right.
just depends on the optics that you see the game in. But it's going to be exciting. I know the tickets go on sale tomorrow. There's still a pre-sale going on, I believe.
I got it right here. Road to26.com. Road to26.com for the Kyle Field matchup with Honduras and Argentina.
And I hear tickets are not that expensive.
So go jump on those tickets now.
Really?
Yeah, jump on them.
I've heard that, and again, I didn't hear as much buzz around the Brazil-Mexico match around this time.
Yeah.
As I'm hearing now around the
Well, Argentina is the reigning champions. Fernando, we got to drop it there. Thank you so much for your time, brother. Always great to see you. Next time, let's just do half an hour on football. Okay?
How about we start doing a soccer show?
We can do that.
Weekly soccer show on TexAgs.
We can do
Who
that.
do we need to talk to?
Talk to me.
Oh, there you go.
And I'll talk to Billy, and we'll get it done.
That's it.
That's done.
That's all we need.
We'll hit a break. We'll come back with more. It's TexAgs Live. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. Hey, it's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner Steelers. I don't know, I'm talking like that because Justin just said something to me and I didn't hear what he said, and then we were on the air. Justin, you want to tell the people what's on TexAgs today?
Yeah, there's a lot on TexAgs today, and it's a reminder to become a premium TexAgs subscriber because you're going to get content like the softball press conference today. Trisha Ford ahead of their game tomorrow against Baylor. We got men's tennis press conference. We'll see Steve Denton a little later today on the show. We got baseball content tonight. They play against the Houston Cougars at 6 p.m. first pitch. And then we get extra innings interviews, NIL interviews with two players that just came off of a sweep of the Texas Longhorns, and Clayton Freshcorn and Nico Partita.
Good stuff there. I appreciate that. So let me set the agenda for the remainder of the hour. Adam Rittenberg of ESPN is going to be joining us here at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. Looking forward to catching up with him. We'll just talk some random college football stuff. We'll talk a little bit about the Brazos Valley Muster event that's coming up, obviously on Muster. And we will talk to Steve Denton, who will join us at 10:35. So we've got a loaded 10 o'clock hour. So, look, I think you like soccer a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. How? Because I know there's people like Olin who are not into soccer at all that listen to the show, and if I bring it up, but is there more interest because it's Argentina?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I'm at the casual level. Well, if it was like, I don't know, I won't name drop another country, but yeah, the fact that it's Argentina, it's like, you're signing me up, I'm going.
All right, we'll drop it right there. We'll come back with more TexAgs Live. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Thought it would be a good time just to talk some random college football with our good friend Adam Rittenberg of ESPN. We go to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Adam, how you doing, buddy? How you been?
Hey, good, man. I'm doing well. How about you?
Well, thanks for joining us. So I saw that you wrote an article recently, College Coaches Pick 2026 Draft Sleepers, and it got me thinking, have sleepers kind of changed within this, when we talk about this new era of college athletics, as it seems like maybe smaller school sleepers at one point stayed in smaller schools, and now these smaller school guys are sleepers until they get to the big school. So I'm curious if that has kind of changed the way sleepers are looked upon.
Right. So, yeah, I know some people were like, well, how could they be sleepers if they were Power 4 starters? But the bottom line is most of the guys that are going to be drafted, the large majority, are going to be from the Power 4 because they're spread out more than they used to be. And so, yeah, there's still some of those guys who are at small schools who are, just being discovered, through the draft process, or maybe in some cases have been on the radar. But hey, if you're one of those guys, you now have the opportunity to transfer and move up and make some money at a higher level, and then still be again. My definition of a sleeper is a guy who has real value at the end of day 2 or day 3. So that was sort of the premise for that story, was asking all these coaches, hey, who do you have that maybe people aren't looking at as a top 60 or 70 pick, but who's going to end up having really great value for whoever NFL team decides to call his name on day 2 or day 3.
Well, isn't that what all NFL GMs want too? It's to buy low and hit big, right? Like that's to me really good drafting. Like, it's one thing to draft a no-brainer. It's another thing to see value in a guy that maybe some people are overlooking.
No doubt. And there's so many examples of, the best franchises for the most part, yeah, they don't miss on their first round picks, but in many cases they trade back and they accumulate more picks on days 2 and day 3. And you see a number of those guys, not just be special teamers, but end up, becoming starters, maybe not right away, but by your second, third, fourth year in the league, they're starting. And so there you have a guy who, again, has that, sort of backdated value where, okay, he's starting now, so he could have been maybe a late first or second round pick, but hey, we got him in round 4 or round 5 or round 6. I'm a Bears fan, as I often reveal on Twitter. And, a good example last year was Kyle Monangai, who's the Bears' backup running back. Anyone who watched college football knew that Kyle Monangai was a really good player, but he was drafted, towards the end of day 3. And so, now he's right there behind DeAndre Swift and contributing to the Bears' success. So that's an example of, in my mind, a sleeper who's turned out really, really good.
Not that I expect you to have your notes in front of you, Adam, but just curious, Tyler Onyedem was the Aggie you talked about. He's a guy that really came on last year for Texas A&M, a transfer, and Elko's done such a good job with his transfers. Do you remember some of the thoughts you had on Tyler, T.O.?
Well, as you mentioned, Mike has found some really good players in the portal, some of which wouldn't even be classified as sleepers anymore. But he was a guy on Onyedem who was at Iowa State, part of a kind of an overachieving program, but hadn't really had that big season yet. Played pretty well in 2023, had a couple of sacks, and again, his numbers this past year for A&M weren't overwhelming, but Mike has a pretty good idea of what someone can become for his teams and certainly at the next level. And I think he feels really strongly that Tyler is going to be a good value for wherever he goes.
Adam, over the last couple of weeks, there's been so much talk about Big Ten dominance currently, winning the national championship in basketball, obviously winning in football the last 3 years. Where are you when it comes to the Big Three in SEC and Big Ten? These things come in waves, or has the Big Ten just completely claimed it? Where are you on it?
Well, here's the deal, David. For years, the SEC's dominance was fueled by the fact that it wasn't over-reliant on one program. Now, they had a historically incredible elite run at Alabama that I don't know will ever be replicated again, but that wasn't the only team that they were relying on to compete nationally. Georgia finally started winning national championships. Obviously, LSU has been a team at times that's in that conversation. Florida going back to the end of the Urban Meyer era, was winning national championships. Auburn has been in that conversation. A&M has come up. We'll see about Texas and Oklahoma. But the Big Ten's problem for so many years is that it was Ohio State or bust. Like Ohio State was the only team that had the roster and the infrastructure and really the want to, in my opinion, to compete at the highest level of the sport. So that's changed dramatically. Like that's why the Big Ten sits where it is because you've had 3 different teams win the national championship. And, you could easily go 4 for 4 if Oregon does it this year, for example. That's a team with Dante Moore coming back, their entire starting defensive front. I was talking with Dan Lanning recently. He's like, hey, we didn't lose any starters to the portal, and we didn't have to add a whole lot of pieces in the portal. So that's a pretty good place to be if you're the Oregon Ducks chasing your first national championship. And again, if it's not Oregon, maybe it's Indiana again, maybe it's Ohio State, maybe it's USC finally getting into the playoff. I know Lincoln Riley feels really good about his roster. And so I think it's the influx of money, obviously the advantage that the Big Ten is capitalizing on with NIL and the portal. But the biggest thing is just having more true contenders. That's what separated the SEC from every other conference for a really long time. And it separated the SEC from the Big Ten. And that's what's changed dramatically here.
I think the SEC has more true contenders than the Big Ten, excuse me, as I kind of try to explain it. But I don't feel like they've been playing their best at the end. Is that a reflection? Because I think you can go 10 deep with the SEC. I don't think you can do the same with the Big Ten, or at least last year you couldn't. But the dominance up top has been what has really impressed me from the Big Ten.
Right, and so I guess it depends on how you define contenders. Like teams to make the playoff, yeah, the SEC's got a lot of them. Ole Miss has come up significantly in the world. We'll see if they can continue that with Pete Golding, not taking over on a permanent basis. The capability is there at so many SEC programs, but is it there to win a national championship? Do they have the ingredients when it comes to quarterback? One of the things that jumps out to me, and there's just so much that's changed since the portal and NIL have come into focus, is that you just can't load up on the line of scrimmage like the SEC used to. I mean, that was really the difference at Alabama and at Georgia and some of those great Florida teams and so forth that allowed LSU, that allowed them to win all those national championships. Now that backup and third string talent is spread out to so many other schools. And, I look at Indiana at the line of scrimmage. It was a huge reason why they won the national championship. It wasn't just because of Fernando Mendoza or those receivers or some, guys like D'Angelo Pons in the secondary. Like the team that wins the national championships always has to be elite at the line of scrimmage. And I just don't know if the SEC's dominant. You look at Alabama, they couldn't run. They couldn't run the ball at Alabama. Like that should never happen. And some of the other SEC teams not really matching up as well at the line of scrimmage as they used to. So certainly quarterback is a big part of this, but how good are you up front on offense and defense? Those are the teams that ultimately are going to be in the mix for the national title.
Adam, what did you think of of President Trump and his kind of trying to help college sports and with his executive order and what the future could look like, considering there's just lawyers everywhere saying, we're coming after that?
Right. I mean, that's sort of what by not getting ahead of some of these things, and maybe it would never have been successful, but by not getting ahead of some of these things before they went into effect, it just, the NCAA and college athletics is in a very hard position to dictate and to say, these are the rules and everyone's going to follow them. And you're done at this point in your career, because there have been so many legal challenges, as you mentioned, and so many successful legal challenges. And so I think there's some things in that executive order that make a lot of sense. And overall, just talking to coaches on a regular basis, I'm out in Utah right now, going to be visiting with Coach Scally in a little bit. It's a very difficult thing to manage from a day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year with your roster so much in flux. And so I think anything to sort of streamline and normalize and get things into a place where coaches know truly what everyone is dealing with is going to benefit the sport. But as you mentioned, it's very, very hard to get there.
Adam, where are you on A&M for this 26th season? And I want to set it up a little bit we have some real questions about this program, right? The offensive line has to be rebuilt. The defensive line is going to look a little different. Marcel's got to take a major step, and it's a much harder schedule. But the optimism, for at least from a College Station perspective, is the guy who's making the calls, and Coach Elko, seems to be building it the right way. And these other programs, the Ohio States, the Texas, well, not Texas as much, but recently Georgia's, right? They have been able to, I just saw a spider on my desk and I kind of flipped out. They have been able to reload from year to year. And with the portal, that can be faster, but it can also cause some chaos.
Right. And I mean, there's some examples of how going so heavily into the portal can kind of ruin your program. And I look at Florida State as maybe the most glaring one, where they just haven't recruited well, and they've missed too often in the portal. And they're now in a really difficult situation just a few years after contending for the college football playoff and winning the ACC. And so, I think, again, pointing to what we talked about earlier, Mike has a really good idea of, sort of the obvious pieces that can come in and help, but also the less obvious pieces. I mean, Cassius Howell is a really good example of a guy that A&M was able to land, and look at what he did. I mean, he was my Mike Elko's sleeper pick when I did that before the season last year. Look at this guy. He's going to have a big year for us, and obviously he did. And so I think that, I agree. Mike's building it the right way. It is going to be tough year to year, especially in the SEC, with the schedule, fluctuating from maybe not so hard to very, very hard, depending on, when and where you're playing some of these opponents. And you're always going to have, 4 or 5 or 6 teams that are capable of beating you. And so that makes it difficult. And so, Marcel is going to have to be better. They're going to have to, find some answers on the offensive line, which was really a strength of theirs, and really a reason why I thought A&M would advance in the playoffs last year rather than getting bounced in the first round. And so that group with Adam Cushing, who I've known for years, is a really good coach. Are they able to get that group where it needs to be? And then you generate enough playmaking ability on the defensive side to win some of those toss-up SEC games. It's going to be fun to watch because this is year 3. This is absolutely in every way Mike Elko's program. Obviously, new coordinators is another subplot. So it's a really intriguing program from a national standpoint to watch this season.
Adam, do you feel like Alabama is going to take another step back and what that could mean for Kalen DeBoer? Or maybe some of that is just, hey, this is his 3rd year. He's going to get more of his players in. Let's see what happens in year 3.
I talked to Kalen not that long ago, and he felt, obviously a lot of coaches are going to sound optimistic at this time of year, but he really feels like they're in a better place with some of the areas where they were deficient last year. We talked a lot about the run game and trying to get that going. Obviously they're going to have a new quarterback, but they have some other playmakers on that offense. And, they needed some resets on the offensive line, getting that running back group in order. And then defensively, I thought they were okay last year. I think they have a chance to be as good or better on the defensive side. But it's a big year, right? At Alabama, even though they made the playoff and they won a game, that didn't look or feel like, Alabama is used to looking or feeling. And so that's why there's going to be, a bigger microscope. But year 3, having the coaches that he wants in place, having more of his recruits and transfers in the program, I still believe in Kalen DeBoer. He's a heck of a coach. He's a heck of an offensive mind. He's won everywhere he's been. And I think Alabama can, take a step forward this year, but also, as you mentioned, if things don't go right, take a step backward, which certainly would ratchet up the pressure on Kalen.
I want to talk LSU with you for a moment because I think Lane Kiffin's an awesome coach, right? It doesn't matter what quarterback he has, they seem to produce. But is it a foregone conclusion that LSU takes a major step forward in year 1 of the Lane Kiffin project?
I don't think it is. I think it's hard in this environment to have instant success in year 1. Again, why so impressive what Curt Cignetti was able to do at a program like Indiana in 2024. I have my questions about Sam Leavitt. I know he's a talented player, but just how everything went last year at Arizona State and how he exited the program, I just don't know if that's going to work out. They've obviously added some other notable pieces in the portal and bring back a lot of talent. I love what Blake Baker does on the defensive side. I think retaining him was a huge, huge piece for Lane Kiffin to get that defense even further in terms of being one of the more disruptive units in the SEC. But it's a lot of drama. It's a guy that obviously has had a great track record at quarterback, and I think they're going to have that if they want to compete in the SEC in year 1.
What about Indiana? I mean, obviously, what Cignetti's done in 2 years in a row, new quarterback, new players. Is it going to be the Indiana we've seen the last couple of years?
I think there's a good chance, right? I mean, here's the thing. We're talking about, the importance of line of scrimmage play. Like, Indiana returns most of its starting offensive line from the national championship team, including Carter Smith, who was the Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year. They added Joe Bruner from Wisconsin, who's going to be an immediate hit, I think, for them at guard. And so, that's a group that can protect Josh Hoover, who, I think rightfully so, the conversation has turned to him and the turnovers, right? He's very productive, but also turned the ball over quite a lot at TCU. That's not going to fly for Curt Cignetti and the Hoosiers. And so, how Josh plays and how he emphasizes his obvious talent with some really good pieces around him, but also takes care of the ball. That was a huge part of their success. With all the great things that Fernando did, Mendoza, he did not turn the ball over. And then on the defensive side, bringing back a guy like Tyreek Tucker is huge for the interior of that defensive line. They have some good linebackers coming back as well in Elijah Hardy, they've obviously added from the portal, guys who can help them at the edge rusher position. Guy like Nick Marsh coming in from Michigan State to possibly be their top wide receiver alongside Charlie Becker. So they've managed this thing really well, and it would just be amazing to see Indiana in the playoff for a third consecutive year. But we have to change our perspective because of what they've done and the fact that they haven't just wanted to be a 1 or 2 year wonder. They wanted now to become a sustained national program, and I think they absolutely belong in the top 10 entering the season.
Adam, wonderful stuff, buddy. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
That's Adam Rittenberg here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break. We'll come back and talk a little Aggie muster. If your organization or business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, then check out the Association of Former Students. They bring Aggies of all ages together during their marquee events held throughout the year. We're talking about Aggie Rain Day, All Aggie Hullabaloo, The Gathering. They welcome tens of thousands of guests, and there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. They offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to promote your brand. And this includes title sponsorship, naming, on-site presence, activation, and social media posts. Of course, there's much, much more as well. There's also advertising opportunities in the Texas Aggie Magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for the last 140 plus years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. It is the Association of Former Students.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you about Fratella Italian Cafe. If anyone knows anything about Italian food, it's me, Billy Lucci. And Fratella has the best Italian food in BCS. Located at 3901 South Texas Avenue, Fratella is known for their handmade pasta dishes and feature lasagna, beef cannelloni, chicken parmesan, chicken fettuccine alfredo, a couple of my favorites, just a big old bowl of plain old spaghetti and some manicotti. Really recommend the manicotti. That's my go-to. And don't walk out of there without trying the fresh, piping hot breadsticks and the homemade in-house cheesecake, which is incredible. It's great for dining in, catering, gift cards, and even shipping, which they do nationwide. Fratella's is Aggie-owned and operated, and it's an official restaurant partner of Texas A&M Athletics. I'll see you there.
And we're back here on TexAgs Live on April 21st. The Aggie Spirit's going to be held or felt all around the globe. And let's talk about something that's going to be happening right here in Bryan College Station at the Brazos County Expo. Joining us today is the 2026 Muster Chairman and Class of 67 graduate, John Sylvester from the Brazos County A&M Club. Sir, how are you?
David, thanks for having me. I'm great.
Well, can I just talk about you for a second?
Sure.
You've had an amazing life.
Yeah.
You were in the military, in the Army, you said, for 37 years. You were a general.
That's
kind of fill the audience in.
Well, it's a long story because I started out here at A&M, and I did not get my commission from A&M because the professor of military science thought I was not smart enough to be an Army officer. So 18 days after I graduated, I enlisted as a private. Wow. And I ended up as a 3-star general, and not bad for smart mouth kid from South Texas.
and you said that you have just retired, what, 20 years ago?
I retired 22 years ago from the Army. And then I went to work in the civil sector and worked for another 10 years and then retired and came home to Mecca.
Yeah, well, I came here 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago now, and I'm so happy to be back. Let's talk about this massive undertaking that you all are putting together. Muster's always unique, but I believe your roll call is going to be one of the biggest, right?
Well, last year we had 211 or 212, one of the two numbers. This year we've got 167 on the roster right now, and in the last week we always get another 15 to 20. So we're going to have a huge number. The number is larger than the campus number, although there are a lot more folks that show up at the Campus Muster. But to distinguish from the Campus Muster, this is the Brazos County A&M Club Muster, which is held at the Brazos County Expo on the 21st at 6 p.m.
Well, let's talk about your 2026 speaker, who's a dear friend of mine, was just on this show. Porter Garner was here, 2 weeks ago, I think it was?
Yeah.
Just an amazing speaker with the history, the knowledge. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, Porter, we asked Porter to talk a number of years, and he said, nope, I won't do it until my last year in office. And so I went to him and I said, okay, Porter, you committed to that. Are you going to do it? And he said, yep, I will. And that was when I'm not sure he'd even publicly announced his retirement yet. And I may have busted that early. But anyway, Porter's going to be our speaker. I'm looking forward to it.
Let's talk about the kind of crowds you guys have gotten throughout the years.
Yeah. Well, right now, I want to say there's 550-ish folks on the list of tables and individual purchasers. We're hoping to have a total number of 800. That'll pay our bills. And last year we had over 800 people present. So right now, I mean, this is an appeal for folks who are Aggies or love Aggies and want to remember an Aggie to show up at the muster. And we're looking forward to having everybody on next Tuesday. What's that, a week from today? Yeah.
Do you remember your first muster?
I do, and I remember several very unique musters. My first muster was a campus muster, and it was actually 10 years after I graduated. I'd come here for a reunion because I was in the Army and I was away. but I came here for a reunion and went to my first muster. Musters are very much to me like silver taps. I mean, it's a sacred occasion. But I have done musters in some very unique places. Staten Island, or not Staten Island, sorry, Liberty Island, where the Statue of Liberty is, because an Aggie was the parks, the National Park Service guy who ran the place, and he had a great muster there. I've done a muster with one other Aggie on the front slope of a tank in the middle of the desert, right after the first Gulf War.
Wow.
Yep. So, I mean, we didn't have the candles and all the rest of it, but
you still had muster though.
Yeah, if there's an Aggie man within 100 miles thing. So, yeah, he and I gathered. A fellow by the name of Mike Kershaw.
Do you remember why you initially picked A&M?
Yeah, and I really didn't have a clue about A&M. My dad had never gone to college, period. Nobody in my family had. My sister had gone to UConn, I guess. But I came to A&M because they had wildlife science, wildlife management as a degree program, and I wanted to be a wildlife biologist.
Mm-hmm.
And, I wanted to count deer or turkeys or something all my life, and I ended up counting soldiers all my life instead. But
what is it about this university that you still want to give back?
Well, one day, many years ago now, but I guess about 15 years ago, my wife came out one morning and said, I had a dream. I said, oh, Martin, what was it? And she said, I dreamt we moved back to Texas. I said, well, I bet we can be packed by lunch. And she said, well, where do we go? I said, there isn't but one place, and that's Aggieland. And she didn't want to go back to Brownsville where I grew up, but and neither did I. I wanted to come here. And I want to come here because this place is special, and in so many ways. I mean, all you got to do is be around these young folks and see the future of America, and it's outstanding. And I mean, atmosphere like this baseball game this last weekend was incredible. I mean, old guys get tears in their eyes anytime you beat T-Sips,
Yeah, and at the expense of their head coach too, right?
Well, yeah. I had a personal story with him at the last game against Tennessee in the World Series. When I greeted him, I shook his hand, I patted him on the back and said, "Hey, Coach, thank you for bringing the team this far and all that." And he stared down at the ground, didn't even answer me, and now I know why.
Now you know why.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to the muster, check it out. Brazos County A&M Club Muster is going to be obviously on April 21st. Doors are going to open at 5:45, and if you tickets are purchased, you can purchase them for $50 each. Tables of 10 can be purchased for $500, and the website is bcamc.org/muster.
Very good.
Anything else we can say about it?
You just nailed it, David. Thanks,
I nailed
sir.
it. General, thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Appreciate it. We're going to hit a break here. When we come back, we'll talk to Steve Denton about a little Aggie men's tennis. If you're serious about getting organized and confident with your finances, check out the good people at Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No commissions, no product sales, just thoughtful financial planning and investment management. And what makes Paragon different is the depth of their team. They have a great team, and they have 8 CFP professionals, a CFA on staff, and credentials matter, and so does what's doing right for the client. Learn more at paragon-adv.com or call them up 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. All right, back here on TexAgs Live, the elite of the SEC are descending on College Station as A&M is going to host the 2026 Men's Tennis Championships for the first time in over a decade. We're going to chat with the head coach, the winningest head coach in A&M history for men's tennis, Steve Denton, joining us here on the program. Coach Denton, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you, Dave?
Well, thanks so much for joining us. So your 20th year leading this program and recently hit the milestone of 400 wins at A&M back in March. Looking back at your time at Aggieland, how does that number represent anything to you? What does it mean?
Well, it means obviously I've had a lot of really good players and a lot of great coaches helping me, which, this is a total team effort. And so it's emblematic of the success that we've had at our program, especially in men's tennis.
Talking to Steve Denton here on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. It's only the second time that A&M's hosted the SEC Championship. The last time was back in 2015. I believe you had a dominant run and won that year. Do you see any parallels between the teams?
Well, actually, we've had good teams, obviously, for quite a long time. And I think this team is no different in that we've had some really good matches that we've played. We've played, very well at home over the years. And, I anticipate us, having a great start to the tournament this coming week with a lot of really good teams. I think this year in the SEC, there's so much parity and so many good teams right now that, anyone is kind of capable of, if they hit their stride at the right time, of being successful this weekend.
Coach Denton, we've had several coaches on the show this week, and today in particular, talking about the SEC in all sports. It seems to be, just razor thin, right? Like when we're talking about the margins, half of your 14 conference matches were decided by, a 4-3 score. Talk a little bit about being so battle-tested heading into this.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we've had a lot of 4-3 matches, and I think that kind of makes you razor sharp, certainly this time of the season as you get into postseason play. And, all these SEC teams have had really close matches this year. And really it comes down to just a couple of key points in these matches to kind of make the determination between winning and losing. And hopefully with 12th man behind us this weekend and being home and being familiar with our settings here, we're going to have a great week.
Coach Denton, I'm looking at some of these matchups, and you beat the 2-seed Mississippi State. You had the LSU series. You went toe-to-toe with Texas. These are some monster programs that you have proven that you can or are knocking on the door of wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really a question of on the day. Everybody, as I said, the margins are really small for all these teams, and anybody, if you don't bring it on the day, then you're going to get knocked out. And we're at the time of the season now where it's win or go home, whether it be in the SEC tournament or even in a couple of weeks the NCAA tournament. And I think our guys understand that, and I know they're really excited about the opportunity of being able to showcase the team and being able to play one more time in front of the 12th man.
Coach Denton, how fun is this time of year? Obviously, for your sport in particular, you're competing at the highest of levels, but just all around campus, we've got some great stuff going on: softball, baseball, women's tennis, golf, both men and women. It's a really good time on the A&M campus.
Yeah, there are just a lot of great sports here at Texas A&M, and I think it started obviously in the fall with Jamie and the national championship with the volleyball program, and it's continued on. Obviously, Pat Henry and track, both men's and women, have been, premier all throughout. And a lot of our sports now, with Mark Weaver winning his 5th consecutive SEC title and won the NCAA a couple years ago, all these programs are really lifting each other up. And there's just this expectation here at Texas A&M to have this type of program in all sports. And it's our whole athletic department is extremely excited. We had our legacy awards last night, and it was incredible to see the talent in the room. And I think all the sports understand that, and that really helps us all to achieve even greater heights.
Coach Denton, I had to reread my notes, but Theo is just a sophomore. I mean, the success he's had makes me feel like he's been here a little bit longer than that. Talk a little bit about his massive leap this year.
Yeah, last year he came in as a freshman, and he did a phenomenal job, I thought, playing at the top of our lineup and only coming in January. Just kind of showed that he had been prepared by playing all the junior slams. And this year he stepped it up another level. I think he's currently ranked number 10 in the country as of today. And he and Togan Tokak are the number 5 doubles team in the country. So obviously leading us at the top of the lineup, playing at a high level. And as you said, he's kind of getting better and better. And I think he's becoming more of a mature tennis player. His aspirations are to play pro tennis. And, I think if he continues to progress here, he's going to have a great chance to do that. We've had a lot of great French players over the past. I don't know if you saw this past weekend, but Monte Carlo was played, and Alcaraz, Sinner, and Zverev were in the semifinals, and the fourth guy in the semifinals was our own Val Vachereau, and he's currently now 17 in the world, and then Arthur Rinderknecht is right behind him at about 25. So we've had some great success with our French players from the past, and Theo's in the line of the next generation of really, really good A&M talent that's going to, I think, go on and have a great career.
You mentioned Togan earlier, leads the team with 14 singles wins. Just how nice is it to have that kind of veteran reliability there in the middle spots?
Yeah, he's been tough down the lineup. I think his competitiveness is one of his attributes, and he loves to compete and practice as well as in matches. I know on Sunday night it didn't go well for him, but I know he's super excited. He didn't get to have a senior day at home, and now he's really excited about this SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament, knowing that it's going to be the last time that he's going to be able to lace it up for the Aggies, and I think he's going to come with a lot of fire, and he's really, really good in doubles. We've had a long list of guys that have been really good doubles players. Austin Krajicek was number 1 in the world a few years ago. We've won an NCAA championship, and so our doubles is top notch, and Togan is probably our best doubles player at this point, and so we're super excited to have him showcased here as we come down to the end of the season.
Coach Denton, for our audience, let us know a little bit about Marcus Mulder from Estonia, who's done such a nice job since joining in January.
Yeah, Marcus just came. When he got here, he had to leave almost immediately to go play Davis Cup, and they played down in Southwest Africa in Namibia. And so he and his team went down there and played, and they were successful. And he's come in, and he's just been solid throughout the lineup where he's played. He's a very strong guy. He hits the ball, really well and hard. And actually, the reason that we kind of brought him is we saw last summer that he'd beaten Theo Papamalamisa a couple times in a couple of pro tournaments. And so he was on our radar, and we were able to get him to come to A&M, and we're extremely excited to have him. He's a real good team guy, and he's been really solid in the middle of the lineup. And like Theo last year, it's not easy to come in as a freshman at midseason and have an impact, and he's done an amazing job at that. And then he's also played a really good part at 3 doubles with Lathan Skrabarsik. They've been really good down there at the back of the lineup in the doubles, and as you probably know and your viewers know, that doubles point is so important for the success of your team. And because of Togan at the top and Theo and Lathan and Marcus Mulder, and then obviously we've got Colamonsi and Alex Fresina at 2 doubles. We've got 3 good doubles teams that we can put out there and give ourselves a great chance to win the doubles point.
Talking to Steve Denton. Coach Denton, let's close out with this. It's a packed schedule starting Wednesday, right? So just kind of take us through it. And, obviously the 12th man support is going to go a long way for you all.
Yeah. So we're going to start on Thursday night at 6 o'clock. We're going to play the winner of Vanderbilt and Alabama. We had a tough match against Alabama on their senior day last week or so ago. The score was 4-1, but I can tell you that there were moments in that match that we could have lost the match. And then we lost to Vanderbilt here 4-3 on the second weekend of the SEC tournament. And we're looking forward to playing the winner of that match on Thursday night. If we can somehow get by that, we'll have Oklahoma again on Sunday or on Friday night at 6 o'clock. And what a great opportunity it would be for us to avenge that loss that we had on Sunday night in Austin, to get them again right away in the tournament. And they're a very good team, top to bottom, singles and doubles. And so, like I said, we've got our work cut out for us. We've got a long way to go, and our guys are excited about this opportunity. And with the 12th man behind us, I think, we put ourselves in a pretty good position. I feel good about this weekend.
Coach Denton, thank you so much for your time. Good luck. We'll talk to you very soon.
All right. Have a great week. Thank you, Dave.
Gig 'em. That is Steve Denton there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break, come back with a final segment. We'll see what Justin's got on tap. We'll do that here in just a few minutes. Right now, there's recording family stories, and then there's what Heritage Films does, which is just second to none. They're the very best. Army veteran Chance McClain, a dear friend of mine, doesn't just do interviews. He immerses himself in your world, whatever that world may be, whether it's timber farming, or if it's just cattle ranches in Texas, whatever. And to our TexAgs audience, this exists because of you, your values, what you've done, and your impact on Chance. He loves telling people stories, and the first part of all his stories were a bunch of Aggies, because Aggies care about their stories. They care differently, and that's why this family-owned business reflects on that on every project that they do when they do your 2-hour documentary about your family business, about your family ranch, about your grandfather, about your dad, whoever it may be. Let Chance and his team take care of you. Preserve more than the memories. Preserve the blueprint for your family's success. Visit yourheritagefilm.com. That is yourheritagefilm.com, or call them up, 713-893-8341 is Heritage Films. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Days. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Look, guys, I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to get into it. But have you all been on Twitter today?
No.
There's like a Twitter beef with media. Like, it's mean. Like
about what?
I mean, I don't want to get in the middle of it because, if I say something and somebody snaps at me.
Is it people we know?
Yeah, it's people we know. Like I snap back and I'm just not I'm in a caring mood, right? I'm A&M baseball won a great series, so I want to be in a good mood. I don't want to cause any, but I will snap back. But I'm not involved. Why insert myself? But yeah, just media beef. Like, people get really people get more mad on Twitter or social media because they don't. It's not real. It's not real life. It's just words, sticks and stones. Justin.
Yeah.
They could break your bones.
They could.
But words, well, who cares?
They're nothing.
Nothing. Anyway, you got some stuff for us. You got the NBA playoffs start tonight?
Yeah, the NBA playoffs, the play-in.
Did anybody in America know? Did the NBA players know that they started tonight?
At least a few people knew.
Did you know, Nick? He's not even paying attention.
I didn't, and I don't care.
Okay.
Unless there's Aggies playing, of course.
There's two.
Then I care so much about those games.
I knew all about it. I was just setting you up. I didn't know.
Robert Williams plays tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
RW.
For the Portland Trailblazers. They play at Phoenix in the play-in. So technically the play-in starts. The real playoffs start, I believe, Friday.
Can you tell me what the records of the two play-in teams are? Is it below 500?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
I've lost
it's
interest.
it's 42-40 and 45-37.
Oh, okay. Those are okay records. That's fine.
Yeah. So we'll see him tonight, and then we obviously will see Alex Caruso for the Thunder.
AC Fresh,
and the number 1 seed team. They're probably destined to another championship run. Yeah, they're looking pretty good.
Yeah. When we were in Oklahoma City for the NCAA tournament, there were some AC Fresh photos everywhere. It was cool to see.
Makes sense.
What else?
I was going to talk about the Portsmouth Invitational. You might not recognize what that is immediately, but it's actually a big-time tournament for 64 exiting seniors of the college basketball landscape, including our favorite Rashawn Agee. He's playing on Thursday, and he's actually on a team with Duke Miles and Otega Owe. It's a 4-day event, 12 games, and 64 seniors. We're even going to see Solo Washington, former Aggie, play in the tournament, but pretty interesting. These guys are going to try to raise their draft stock as we get closer to June.
Rashawn Agee is my guy. Love him.
Yeah.
He was only here for a little bit, but super excited about what he can do at the next level.
Yeah, no, and I guess last bit of news I think we'd like to discuss. We actually got a text I wanted to get to. We're transitioning to football a little bit, but with the spare time we have, question from ZB: which true freshman do you think is most likely to make the biggest impact for the football team this next season?
I mean,
too early to tell?
Yeah, it's too early to tell. But okay, Aaron Gregory is the first name I think of, but there's a lot of wide receivers in that room. So Aaron Gregory would be the first one I would think of. KJ Edwards, I've heard nothing but great things, and I think he's going to be dynamic. Bryce Perry-Wright, I think Billy's talked about him on several occasions. So look, there are some dudes that I expect to play, and what I hope we see is they come at the right time. That right time might be day one. It might be in week 4. But like when they come at the right time and then they seize that moment. An example, he wasn't a freshman, but Damian Sanford last year was given an opportunity and he took it and he ran home with it, right? Like it was an amazing run by him. So I am a big fan of guys that wait to develop, and when their opportunity comes, they take it. When Aaron Gregory gets on the field, it's going to be hard to take that kid off.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Madden Williams, it's going to be hard to take that kid off. These are some real players. But the beauty of this roster is they've got some veteran guys, too. I mean, Mario Craver's entering his 3rd year, and he feels like he's continuously trending up. So it'll be fun. All right, that's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on a Tuesday. Tomorrow on the show, John Harris. We know that. Trisha Ford. We know that, right? Just awards for Wednesdays, right?
Just forward.
And who else do we have?
Kendall Rogers.
Kendall Rogers. We've got Kendall Leone,
Recruiting country,
and Jason Howell. Yeah, so we've got ourselves a nice loaded Wednesday show. All right, friends. I thank you to all. How many guests do we have today? 39.
A ton.
Every segment. Guess. Even the nice people on the YouTube chat. Appreciate everybody who came in today and was a part of the program. That's going to do it for TexAgs Live. We'll see you all mañana.